Good evening, Facebook Live. Welcome to our edition of Let's Talk with Dr. Troxell. I'm Chief Communications Officer Corey Ryan here today to lead us through our discussion. Please go ahead. We have a live chat both on YouTube and Facebook. Feel free to go ahead and insert your questions. We're talking college and career pathways with our Senior Executive Director for College and Career Pathways, Dr. Tiffany Spicer. And with that, I'm going to kick it off to Dr. Troxell.
Corey, thank you so much. We are excited to have you here today,
you.
Tiffany. Thank you for joining us to talk about college and career pathways. But before we get into that a little bit, why don't you give us a little bit of background on your career, because I know you have a really storied career. You were most recently the principal at Leander High School.
Yes, I was. This is my 5th year in the district. This is my 15th year in education. I started off as a special education teacher, and so that was amazing. Then after that, I went to the AP role and the associate principal role. I've also had the pleasure and the honor of being a middle school principal and a high school principal here in Leander ISD. And then currently serving this role the last 2 years has been amazing, and just it's been very, very just wonderful.
Well, we're blessed to have you. And I know the students at Leander High School miss you. I know they're thrilled to have Mr. Simpson, but they miss you on a regular basis. And we're going to talk about a variety of things today. And I want to talk first and foremost about Cool Week.
Okay.
Career opportunities on location. We just had that last week. We had over 700 students participate. Talk a little bit about that and what it means for our district and our student body.
This is just a wonderful opportunity for our students to get out and see careers that they're interested in. They go through the programs of study in our system, especially in the high school. And then while they're going through, they just get to learn about different contents. But then we take the content they've learned and we match them up with different career and industry partners. And so we have multiple businesses who say, hey, we'll take your kiddos for a few days. They get to model, follow them. They have internship experience, and some of those things do lead to jobs later on. But this has been amazing. This year we did increase to 200 more students than we had last year. So the goal is to make sure that we can give all of our students that experience their senior year, because this is where you kind of find out, you know, I think I do like mechanical engineering, and seeing it in action just changes your whole perspective. Or maybe electrical engineering is not for me. Maybe I want to go into the biomedical field. So it's just a great opportunity, and our partners have been amazing. They love our students. They ask for more, and that just opens the door for that partnership connection with our business and our community industry.
You know, I'm always so impressed with what our students do on location. One of the culminating events of that week is the students actually do a presentation, and I've been at several locations over the last couple of years watching our student presentations. Talk a little bit about that and what you think of the importance of those presentations are for our student body.
I think it's amazing because after they finish their mentoring and their modeling and their shadowing, they get to come back and present, and they present to business partners. We're in the room as well, but it's good for the students to hear from the business partners. That's life-changing. They get the feedback. They get, okay, that was great. You might want to think about this. Have you thought about this? I want to hook you up with this person in this department. So it just brings a lot of collaboration together, and our students get wonderful feedback that they might not have gotten just in the classroom.
Yeah, and I always think about the fact that it's so expensive when you're in college to try something and decide on a different pathway, either for a degree or for a career. This really gives our students at an early age an opportunity to experience real life, hands-on learning to determine if this may be something they're interested in college. So if we have business partners that are out there that are participating in Cool Week, how do they join our program? How can they contact us?
It's easy. You can contact me if you'd like to, or you can contact, we have Pat Lopez, and her email is pat.lopez@leanderisd.org. But she's our contact for Cool Week. And so when we get references or people say, hey, I'm interested, take my card, or when we go out to meetings and represent the district, I literally ask for cards, and we take those, and then we reach out and say, hey, would you like to partner? Let us tell you about Cool Week experience and how that helps. We also have another Cool Week partnership for our teachers, too, and this is our 2nd year doing that, coming this summer. So last year, 25 teachers got to go out into industry and learn about the different careers, and then take that learning and put it into their classroom. So this year, we're honored to have 50. We're going to double that, and so we're sending that information out next month in March. So it's a great opportunity.
We'd love for more organizations to join us. The Leander Chamber of Commerce helps us with that tremendously, and our teachers benefit because they get to take practical experiences back with them to the classroom and apply it to various subject matters. So we really appreciate our business partners, not only for our student body, but for our teachers as well. I'm looking forward to that opportunity this summer for a number of our teachers to be able to join the workforce and experience a week of doing something outside of the classroom.
Yes.
So the other topic I wanted to talk to you about today, and we have a number, but really important, is International Baccalaureate and Advanced Placement.
Yes, sir.
Those programs provide such opportunities for our student body. You know, we are both high school principals at
Yes.
one time, and we know a lot of high school parents know what those two programs are. But just for the general audience, for somebody maybe watching us today who may not have had a high school student yet, what is the International Baccalaureate and Advanced Placement programs, and how do they impact our kids?
Okay, well, I'll talk about IB first. So as you know, we have two IB programs. We have the PYP, which is the primary years program, at two of our elementary schools. So we have it at Grandview Hills and Mason Elementary. And that's a school-wide program to where our students are able to explore IB topics such as just global issues and just think beyond the United States, sometimes beyond Texas, and just get that global perspective in their learning. And so they have that experience. At the high school level, we have the DP program, which is the diploma program. We have that at Leander High School and Vandergrift High School. And at those two campuses, they have the opportunity for our students to take a numerous amount of courses that just take you beyond the rich history of our country, but the world. So when they're writing essays, they're not just graded by people here in Texas or the United States, they're graded by people across the world. When they take courses, sometimes they have interactions with various students or various people across the country. But this experience is just a very rich opportunity to see a global perspective and have that lens in your education. So that comes across in every subject matter that they take. They have the opportunity to take a test and get their IB diploma and also receive college credit. We also have AP, and that's advanced program that's sponsored through College Board. And our AP classes are mostly at the high school level. We do have one or two at the middle school level for our students whose their first language is, say, Spanish. They can take the AP language test and also get college credit, high school credit and college credit at the same time. But with our AP courses, our students have the opportunity to just go through and take courses, whether it's math, science, English, social studies, but they'll take these courses and they'll learn and then they'll sit for a placement exam. And once they take that exam, they're getting a score 1 through 7. And if they get a 3, 4, or 5, 1 through 5 on that one, if they get a 3, 4, or 5, they will be able to get college credit. And here in the state of Texas, sometimes the 3 will transfer directly over. And then some of our kids, they do go outside of Texas. And so they also have opportunity to get college credit around the country.
Dr. Spicer, I think it's really important for our parents to know that the IB program, or International Baccalaureate, again, it's at Leander High School, and this year for the first time at Vandergrift, you do not have to go to those schools. You can actually transfer to those schools for those programs. So it's open to really all of our high school kids, and as you said, they take an exam and it's scored on a scale of 1 to 7, and they can get credit not only at a Texas university, but a national university or an international university.
Correct.
So it's a pretty amazing program. And advanced placement has been around for a long time. The College Board, which is basically the university presidents from throughout the United States who help really draft the SAT and the PSAT, actually write those exams or have their professors write those exams, and kids get college credit. And I can tell you as a parent who has 2 students in college, the amount of dollars you save by having your students place out through that is
Definitely.
a phenomenal thing. And it allows our students to then, when they get to college, already have some experience in college level coursework while they're still being nurtured in their
Yes.
homes and
Yes.
with our teachers.
That's key, that's key. And another thing too that we have that people might not be aware of, we have dual credit and we have dual enrollment. So we have 2 partnerships. One is with ACC, which is Austin Community College, and our students have the opportunity to take courses either on the campus or in our schools, and that's just amazing because they get that college feel and that college experience, but they have the support of high school teachers around them. You have your tutorials, you have your small groups, everything that you need to be successful. And then we also have dual enrollment, and this is our 3rd year as a district taking part in dual enrollment with the University of Texas at Austin. Welcome home. But the students get to take the class with one of our teachers who's trained by UT for 10 days over the summer, but also with a UT professor. So that teacher comes, streams in live, and so they're taking the course with support from us, but also directly with a college professor. Those students get 2 grades. They get a college grade and they get a high school grade. This one stays on their high school transcript. This one they have the option to select and use as credit for college. And so that's a great opportunity because we're reaching students who might otherwise not take a course. Some are like, I'm not doing ACC, or no AP, or I'm not an IB. This is another opportunity for our students, and we think it's just a benefit and it's a blessing.
Yeah, and I think, again, that experience as a high school principal of taking college level courses while you're still in high school is invaluable. It not only saves you financially, but it actually gets you prepared for college because you can realize early on, I am capable of doing this type of work.
Yes.
The other thing I'd like to mention about this for our student body that may be watching, and for our parents as well, you know, we talk a lot, or we hear a lot in our community about class rank. And really what universities are looking for, unless you want automatic admission to the two large state institutions of A&M and UT, are well-rounded students.
Correct.
Students that volunteer and are involved in activities in school, but also take a wide variety of courses that maybe dual credit offers or IB offers or AP offers. That's really what universities are looking for, much more than your class rank, because it's hard to equate going to Leander High School with maybe a school that has a different type of student body. So I really think it's important for us to make sure our students have exposure to as many different types of programs as possible. What are your thoughts on that as a former high school principal and now over this program?
I totally agree with you. Even as a middle school principal and a high school principal, that's what we crafted. That was the message we crafted to our students. A lot of times we get distracted or think that if I'm the top student, I'm the valedictorian, it's going to be amazing. Well, sometimes your valedictorian does not get into the school that they think they're going to get into. And we just heard from UT last week when they came and talked to us about on-ramps. They are looking, this is from their mouths, they're looking for well-rounded students. They want to make sure you can communicate. They want to make sure you know how to, I'll say, sell yourself and educate, just have that conversation, that dialogue. They want to make sure you have the book smarts, but they also want to know that you just navigate the system and how are you going to give back to the university. They want to see that you care about the community, you're volunteering, you're serving. Sometimes you might be working a job. That is value added to your resume and to you. So they do look at your transcript and they say, okay, they took dual credit or they took dual enrollment or their IB AP. That's great. They want to make sure that you have a varied experience because that creates that person, not just your scores. And sometimes we have that false perception that that's the only thing that they're looking at. They want well-rounded students, and they're very clear on that when they come and talk to us. And so we try to make sure as a system we educate our students and our families and our parents on what the needs are for our kiddos as they go into college.
And I think it's important for us to keep in mind that automatic admission is not the only way to get into one of the two state schools. So that well-roundedness is really important. And then for a number of our students going to a community college or a junior college before they go off to a four-year university, getting the basic courses out of the way really makes a difference in their lives. So again, I just want to encourage our student body to diversify your experiences as much as possible. You know, going back to Cool Week, when we went over to Dell and had a visit, I know you visited a number of locations, really what they emphasize is teamwork, the confluence of ideas from different people coming together and working as a team. That's what the universities are looking for as well. In so many courses, it is different than high school in that regard, and that you're going to work together in a group to have a solution to a problem that is part of the class assignment. So we're seeing the ability to form relationships, the ability to reach out, and I think this student body, and not just here in Leander, but I mean across the state, this generation of kids, I say frequently, is the greatest generation because I really do believe in my 30 years in education, I've never seen a generation give back more. They're very giving, this group of kids.
True.
So let's go on to the next topic because we have a number of things in this category. I want to talk about the SAT suite of assessments that we're doing. Why are we doing the SAT assessments at the high school level at this point? What value is that, again, to our student body and to individual students themselves?
Okay, so in our system, we have been giving the SAT to our 8th graders, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders over the last, I think, about 3 to 4 years. So that has been a part of our system. But now we're excited that this year, March 6th to be exact, we're offering the SAT to our juniors. And we think that's a big just opportunity for our students to be successful. When you're going to college, that's our expectation, that everybody goes, that everybody has that opportunity to go. So this is one of those things that we're able to provide as a district so our students don't have to pay for this opportunity. When our students take the PSAT and the SAT, they do have the opportunity to become National Merit Scholars or National Merit Semifinalists. Those opportunities provide scholarships. Sometimes people think, well, if I'm not a National Merit finalists, it's not beneficial. It's still beneficial because your scores matter. And so the district, we're very blessed in that we have this opportunity starting at 8th grade because you have the opportunity to improve and increase your score over time. We're working on summer planning and programming to ensure our students have the opportunity to kind of see where they stand and also grow in that learning so when they take the test again, they're able to get a higher score. Again, higher score equals more money. And sometimes people don't realize too, as a parent, I learned this with my first kiddo who graduated high school, who's in college. It's like sometimes if you don't have the right GPA, but your SAT score is here and your ACT score, they might say, you know what, I'm going to give you that money for academic scholarship. Or if you have this high GPA and your SAT score is here, they might say, you know what, we can make that work. So there's benefits in taking it, and we're blessed as a system to have that opportunity to start so young and give that exposure and provide that opportunity for our students.
And you know, National Merit Scholars, which are heavily recruited by universities
Yes.
and get scholarships, is based on the year before you graduate, your PSAT score. So for most students, that's their junior year, unless they're going to graduate a year early. So that performance on that PSAT and then eventually on your SAT is critical for those scholarships, because we think a lot about athletic scholarships because we read about them in the paper,
Yes.
right? It's something that is publicized on ESPN or on your local news when kids sign. Well, National Merit Scholars sign as well.
Yes.
And they get incredible opportunities to go off to colleges and universities and have a large amount of the tuition paid for. So I'm excited about what we're doing with the SAT, and I appreciate your leadership in that.
Yes.
I want to touch on another program if I
Okay.
could, and that's our Junior ROTC program. I know that's another program that's under your auspices. We look at the fact that at Leander High School we have the Air Force Junior ROTC, and at Vista Ridge we have the Navy Junior ROTC. And again, students can transfer into those programs. They don't have to go to that. But I was just reading recently about Leander High School student Rebecca, who has a full ride to one of the top flight schools to become an aviator in the entire country. It's pretty phenomenal what our kids do in the Junior ROTC program. Talk about what you think that program does for our kids, because as we have elementary and middle schoolers who are looking for where do I belong, where do I
Yes.
find my niche?
Yes.
For many of our kiddos, this is their niche.
Yes, and I think every district doesn't have ROTC programs, and I don't think people realize that. So again, we're fortunate to have the opportunity to have two branches of the service in our district. But this is an opportunity, if you think about it, some of our kids come in saying, I know I want to be in the military. Done. They're clear, they have it in their minds, they're ready. This is a great avenue to get that experience and that exposure from retired military personnel who are leading these classes and making sure that these kids have experience that line up with the military. And also for kiddos who are like, I never even thought about the Navy, or I never thought about the Air Force, or I just heard the Army's great. You know, so when they hear it and they're like, you know what, I want to take the first course, it opens their eyes to opportunities that they did not know they had. And so that's why we have those programs in our system. And case in point with Rebecca, she was one of my students when I was in high school. This is just a great opportunity because that opened the door. She's been there since her freshman year going through the program. And with this exposure and experience, she's had the opportunity to go to military programs and kind of learn and grow. And now she has a full ride to college. And so that's amazing. And we hear great stories about our students every day in various fields, whether it's ROTC or CTE. You know, so I'm just very just proud and humble because that's amazing, and that's what we want for our students. We want every student to have an experience like that.
Yeah, I'd like to personally congratulate Rebecca on that. That's an amazing accomplishment. You know, you don't have to want to have a career in the military to be in one of the Junior ROTC programs. It's really a lot about leadership, and it provides a place to belong and to be a part of something larger than yourself, very much like a band program or a fine arts program or an athletic program. You are really with a group of students trying to accomplish some major goals. And so I'm always so impressed with that program and glad that we have two different branches in our school system. So I want to talk a little bit about graduation, because ultimately what we're here for is getting our students to graduate and move on to hopefully bigger and better things in their lives. And I think it's pretty remarkable that our 4-year graduation rate right now is at 97%. Our 5-year graduation, because some kids take an extra year, is 99%. It's actually over 99%. And it's really due to two programs that you have a lot of interaction with, and people may not know about those, and they're critical to our success. The first is New Hope High School, which is one of our alternative high schools of choice, and the second one is our Twilight program. So if you could talk about the Twilight program and New Hope High School, again, just for the members of our audience who may not have heard of those two fantastic opportunities for so many of our kids.
All right, so we have Twilight School rather. It's for all the students in our system. It's for our high school students. And so sometimes life happens, right? And our students are going through courses, and sometimes they might not be as successful as they thought they would. So this provides an opportunity for students to go to Twilight 2 or 3 times a week. and then they can work on the courses that they might be behind in. So you can still stay at your home campus, but you come to Leander High School where it's housed, and you take your classes there just to make sure that you get caught up and you stay on track, and we can get you to graduate in 4 years. That's the goal. We also have New Hope High School, which is our alternative high school ran by one of our principals, Barb Spillman, and she falls under our department as well. And so with that high school, our students have to apply from the other 6 high schools, and they have the opportunity to go there. So sometimes we have just various situations that our students experience, and we know that all students aren't the same, but when life happens, and that's what we kind of call it, you have the opportunity to apply to this program and that says, hey, you know what, I need to modify my day, or you know what, I have to take care of my ailing mother, and so can I do a half day and go here? So we kind of work with you to meet your needs, to make sure we give you the support you need, number one, but number two, create that schedule so that you can graduate and you can get on with life, because we know that every student does not fit in the traditional mold. And so this is an opportunity to reach those students and make sure that they're able to succeed and be successful and not let the life experiences hinder them from being successful. So that's what those programs do, and we're just so honored to have them.
And Barbara Spellman was the principal at Cedar Park High School, so she has the experience of being in a traditional high school. She was also at Austin High School in the Austin ISD at one time. So great experience that she brings to it. And really, if you haven't been to one of their graduation ceremonies, it is fantastic, the stories you hear about the young people that have overcome great odds. You know, I'm getting tired just talking to you about all the programs you oversee, because you have a lot, you have a lot of programs. And I want to talk about one other thing that you are doing in your area, and that is working with our counselors.
Okay.
And the work with the counselors that we're really doing on the one-to-one initiative. Could you talk a little bit about that and what our goal is with the one-to-one initiative we're doing at the high schools? And we also, while we have this opportunity, want to thank the Board of Trustees, because last year they approved one additional counselor at each high school to help with this initiative and really with meeting the needs of all of our kids.
Yes, thank you for that. So we have our director, Steve Clark, who's oversees counseling, and then we have Bethany McPhail, who is the coordinator. And so what they've done is created a system to where every student meets with their counselor annually to go over their post-secondary plan. And so we knew that was happening. It's not that it was not happening in our system, but we wanted to formalize the process and make sure that we could kind of track it over time. So at the beginning of the year, we meet with all of our seniors, and we make sure that every counselor calls on their students, and they say, okay, where are you? Where are you with your testing your ACT, SAT, or your TSI, to make sure that they're ready. And we also make sure, what is your plan? If you say you're going to college, where are you going? Have you filled the application? All the different things that we kind of take for granted as adults. But then we also make sure that that junior year, we're having the same conversation, that sophomore and that freshman. So we track it over the year, and we talk to every level, so they'll get 4 one-on-one conference times, although our students do see their counselors more than that, and we know that. But we want to make sure we have a structured, just formalized process to ensure that we're talking about post-secondary planning, and we're ensuring that it's happening for kids, because when people have a plan, it comes to pass. When you don't have a plan, you kind of like leave it to chance, and we don't want that for our students. We want them to leave excited, knowing where they're going, having the resources and the supports in place to be successful when they exit our system.
Our counselors do so much more than what we typically think of a counselor doing beyond just the academic counseling. They also do a lot of counseling with students on a daily basis just to make sure they can have successful lives in high school. We're going to throw it over to Corey Ryan, who has one question from our community that we're going to field at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Spicer and Dr. Troxell. Again, we want to encourage all of our viewers at home to please go ahead and post comments. We do have one question regarding school attendance zoning. I just want to let you know that we are collecting feedback on school attendance zone scenario A at www.leanderisd.org/MSAZ. Please submit feedback through our Thought Exchange open forum. We are presenting to the school board next Thursday, March 7th, so we will have possible tweaks based on the community feedback. We just want our community to know that we are listening, and there will be public forums into March and possibly into April, at least 2 at schools, and we will do 1 here live online as well. So we do want to be able to engage our feedback. We are just still at the beginning stage, in the beginning quarter of the process for setting an attendance zone for middle schools in 2020. Did want to address that today. We're talking about college and career pathways and with Dr. Spicer. Please go ahead, submit questions. We're going to be here for about 8 more minutes. to wind this down. If you're watching this after we're done taping, please feel free to still go ahead and leave a question. We'll make sure we get you the answer that you need. And with that, I'm going to kick it back over to Dr. Troxell.
Well, yeah, and I would like to make just a few brief comments, if I can, about rezoning. I think one of the most important things is to hear your voice. So we have put Scenario A online for you to take a look at, to give us feedback. Do not think Scenario A is the final scenario. There will be probably a version B. There may be a C or a D when it's all said and done. I've seen different iterations of zoning as you go through the process. But we started really by listening to the community, and they gave us some key parameters through feedback that we received of what they wanted to see in zoning. And one of those was proximity to the school, and then we also had as pure feeder patterns as we could from middle schools to high schools. But we know we still have some tweaking to do, and it's going to be important we hear from you. So thank you, and please keep submitting that information. And Mr. Ryan, thank you for giving that update. I want to go on to one other topic I think is really important, and that is really looking at future programs.
Okay.
And I know right now we have a program advisory committee
Yes.
that's studying a myriad of programs. None of the programs that we're studying we're saying definitively we're going to do,
Correct.
but we're looking at other options to make sure that we have a niche or a place for every single child to belong in our schools. So talk a little bit about that, and I know that we'll be updating our Board of Trustees on that in the next few months.
Yes, we will. All right, so our PAC committee, again, Program Advisory Committee, we use that platform through our DWIC committee. And so the executive directors, which includes myself and the 4 other ones, as well as our chief of academics, which is Dr. Vince. So what we've been doing is kind of seeking input from that group, which consists of parents, business partners, teachers, administrators in the system on campus and at the district level, and looking at a couple of areas. We've been looking at our bilingual campuses and programming. We've also been looking at our middle school programming and what that looks like. There has been a request and desire from our parents to have more middle school electives in the STEM area specifically, and they're also asking about CTE programming. So we've been researching that, and we're going to provide that feedback to you all to kind of let you know this is what they kind of came up with and see if we're able to make these things happen for our students. We've also been asked to look at IB for the middle years program, and so we're looking at that work as well. We've also looked at Academy and magnet programming. And so we have a lot of great programs for our programs of study in our system, but there's a question about how do we make sure, if we're wanting to have magnet schools where kids can say, you know what, I want to go to that program because it's here, even though I live over here. And so those are some of the things that we're researching and studying as well. Also as well as UIL academics, you know, we looked at that as well. So we've been looking at a number of items across the system. And so our job is to get feedback from our parents and our business partners and say, okay, like, what are you thinking? We've done some research. We've taken some field trips to kind of just see what else is going on across the state. We've had to make some phone calls because some of the locations are rather far, but we've gotten great feedback and great input and great learning. Some of the action items that we have on our table, they are to be continued because it's a lot of work, and we're not able to say, hey, let's make this happen tomorrow, even though it's going to cost $1 million, you know, something like that. So we're going to be doing more research and bringing that information back to you all and to the board, of course, just to see kind of what are we able to do and will this meet the needs of our students. And so I think it's a great opportunity because we partner with all of our stakeholders to get that feedback and then share it back with you all.
I think sometimes it's important to dream. It's, you know, to look at the possibilities that are out there and really try to see then can you make those dreams a reality.
Yes, sir.
And that reality sometimes is contingent upon state funding.
Yes, sir.
And funding sources. And one of the big topics that we've talked about indirectly, I want to talk about it directly for a moment, is career and technology education.
Yes, sir.
It's near and dear to my heart. I think it's critical for so many of our kids. And I think sometimes there's really a misnomer or a misunderstanding of what we offer in the schools. Because I think about, you know, the cosmetology lab that we have at Leander High School, or the auto mechanics lab that we have at Rouse High School. We have a lot of programs. And then when we start to think about career and technology education, we're really getting into computer sciences now.
Yes.
So there's a lot of advanced programs and things of that nature. Talk a little bit about what you saw at Leander High School as a principal, and now what you see it as a district-wide perspective in career and technology education.
No problem. So at Leander High School, we had cosmetology, as you mentioned, and that program was open to all students across our system. So not just for Leander High School students, but anybody could apply. And then those kids are sub-campus to Leander High School to do that work and learn. Those kiddos take exams, and by the time they leave, they're certified to be cosmetologists. And so that was just an amazing program because you could just see the fruits of the labor just like that. They also did work in the community where people came in to get their hair, nails, makeup, you name it, done, but they also outsource for proms and things like that. So it's a great learning on the job kind of experience, but we house it in our system. We also have construction trades. And so that was my pride and joy, because you could see our kids just working so hard and diligently. And then when they graduated, some of our kids are making $80,000. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but this experience that they learned, the certifications they receive is life-changing. And sometimes we don't give enough credit, or not even know maybe what's going on and how this could benefit and impact our students. Again, we have engineering programs. We also had, like you said, the computer science. So we have all these various programs. So as I'm taking this lens as an executive director and looking at the whole system, we also have incubator at Vista Ridge, and we have it at Vandergrift. And again, this is another partnership that comes through CTE in that department. But we partner with businesses. Our kiddos have their 501c3s, they make their business and they sell their product and they try to pitch it. And so it's an amazing opportunity, and businesses say, yes, I like it, let's go, do the work, and let's show us what you got. And so this is another opportunity where we're partnering with the community and also giving students the chance to use what they're learning in their classwork. So we have various programs at all of our schools. We have a standard set of programs at each of the 6 high schools. However, each high school also have like a specialty program. So think about culinary arts, which is at Cedar Park and Glenn High School. So those programs are bigger, and some of our kids go over there as well. So I think we have grown, we're growing. We're also paying attention to the trends. We partner and talk to Google. We talk to Apple. We talk to Dell, and we partner with them. And they're letting us know what's coming down the pipe. And so we're asking questions like, what do our classes need to look like so our kids can be prepared and you want to hire them when they leave Leander ISD? So we're making those connections, and we have those partnerships, and we're able to evolve to make sure our kids are going to be successful when they leave our system.
And for parents out there that are having younger children, the Shark Tank program that we have at the elementary level, that's really Incubator EDU at the high school level, but it's real life investments.
Yes.
I was talking to a young man named Nick who goes over to Vista Ridge High School, was up at SMU this past week, and as he was visiting, he emailed me and told me that one of the professors he visited with gave him some real good insight in how to pitch his idea to the business people about what he's doing in high school. So again, that well-roundedness that we want our kids to have is really critical. Well, Dr. Spicer, we could go on and on because there's so much that you do, but we're running short on time, and I want to thank our audience for joining us this afternoon. I want to thank you for not only sitting with me and talking to the community about our programs, but all the work you do. You just do an amazing job, and thank you for each and every day the service you give to our kids. Mr. Ryan, I'll turn it back over to you.
And I want to go ahead and again thank you, Dr. Troxell. Thank you, Dr. Spicer, for joining us. Again, if you're watching this after the live stream, still feel free to leave questions, comments. We'll make sure we respond. I want to give a shout out to Daniel Cernero, Matt Mitchell, Adriana Dominguez from my team, doing a great job tonight. We are live from Portable C at Leander ISD, and we will see you in March.